You better be ready, because we are going to dive in the story of one of the most clutch players in world football. Rodrygo Goes, the Rayo of Real Madrid, has a special gift, showing up when it matters the most. Do you remember that historic comeback against Manchester City in the Champions League? When everyone thought Real Madrid was done, he stepped in and changed the game. Or that last-second goal against Chelsea. This guy doesn't hide, he shines when the team needs him the most. But how did he get here? How did a kid from Osasco, Brazil, go from a rising star at Santos to one of the most lethal forwards in Europe? At just 18, he was already scoring hat tricks in the Champions League. But the big question is, does he have what it takes to be Real Madrid's next superstar? Today, we're diving deep into the full story of Rodrygo Goes, from his humble beginnings to his meteoric rise at Santos, his adaptation to European football, and the unforgettable moments where he made history for Real Madrid. And here's the real question: is Rodrygo ready to lead Real Madrid into the future? Stick around, because this story is full of twists, triumphs, and moments worthy of a true football legend. Childhood and early football days. Before the bright lights of the Santiago Bernabeu, before the Champions League heroics, Rodrygo Goes was just a young boy from Osasco, Brazil, with a dream. Born on January 9th, 2001, football was in his blood. His father, Eric Goes, was a professional footballer, and from an early age, it was clear that Rodrygo had inherited his talent. Unlike many Brazilian stars who first fell in love with football playing barefoot in the streets, Rodrygo's journey started in futsal. This is where he developed his quick feet, tight ball control, and ability to navigate through defenses with ease, skills that would later become his trademark. At just 6 years old, he was already dazzling on the futsal courts, catching the attention of scouts. By the time he turned 9, something extraordinary happened. Santos FC, the same club that produced legends like Pelé and Neymar, came knocking. His talent was undeniable, and the club didn't waste any time integrating him into their youth system. But there was a twist. While most kids his age were still playing casual matches, Rodrygo was already training with Santos's U11 squad, playing against kids 2 years older than him. His coaches quickly noticed something special. Rodrygo had an unusual maturity on the pitch, a mix of composure and killer instinct that separated him from the rest. Some doubted whether his small frame could handle professional football, but his intelligence and technical ability silenced any concerns. His rapid progress continued, and by the time he was 16, he had already signed his first professional contract. But what made Rodrygo special wasn't just his talent, it was his mentality. He wasn't just another promising young player, he was obsessed with improving. He stayed late after training, worked on his finishing, and studied the movements of the best players in the world. The question now was, could he handle the pressure of being Brazil's next big thing? And how long would it take before Europe came calling? Rise at Santos. Rodrygo didn't just join Santos, he dominated from the moment he stepped onto the pitch. At just 16 years old, he became the youngest player in club history to sign a professional contract, with a massive €50 million release clause. Santos knew they had something special in their hands, and they were determined to protect their rising star. His first team debut came in November 2017, and it didn't take long for him to make an impact. Just a few months later, in March 2018, he scored his first professional goal against Ponte Preta in the Campeonato Paulista. But it was in the Brasileirão where he truly exploded, proving that he was far more than just a promising talent. He was a game changer. One of his most memorable performances came against Vitória in June 2018. In that match, he picked up the ball near the halfway line, dribbled past defenders like they weren't even there, and slotted it into the back of the net. That goal wasn't just a highlight, it was a statement. A message to the football world that Rodrygo wasn't just another young talent, he was a star in the making. Fans and pundits started comparing him to Neymar, who had followed the same path from Santos to stardom. But Rodrygo wasn't just another copy of his predecessor. He had his own style, fast, skillful, and incredibly smart on the ball. Unlike many young wingers, he didn't rely solely on flashy dribbling. He had the vision to pick out the right pass, the patience to read the game, and the composure to finish when it mattered. With every match, his reputation grew. European scouts were watching closely, and one club in particular was already making their move: Real Madrid. The Spanish giants saw something in him that couldn't be ignored. But was he really ready for such a massive leap? Moving from Brazil straight to one of the biggest clubs in the world is a challenge that has broken many young players. Would Rodrygo be different? The move to Real Madrid. By 2018, it was no longer a question of if Rodrygo would move to Europe, but when and to which club. Several European giants, including Barcelona, Liverpool, and PSG, had their eyes on him. But one team moved faster than the rest: Real Madrid. In June 2018, while Rodrygo was still playing for Santos, Real Madrid secured his transfer for 45 million euros, a record-breaking deal for a teenager playing in Brazil. However, unlike Vinicius Jr., who had arrived in Madrid at 18, Rodrygo was given an extra year to develop in Brazil before making the move. This decision would prove to be crucial. During his final season at Santos, he continued to impress, further refining his skills and building confidence. But when the time came to leave Brazil in July 2019, the challenge ahead was massive. He was about to step into a club that demanded immediate results. No adaptation period, no excuses. Real Madrid doesn't wait for anyone. Arriving in Madrid, a new reality. Stepping into Valdebebas, Real Madrid's training complex, Rodrygo quickly realized how different things were from Santos. The intensity of training, the level of competition, and the sheer pressure to perform were on another level. He was now sharing the locker room with Karim Benzema, Luka Modric, Sergio Ramos, and Eden Hazard, players who had already conquered world football. Unlike at Santos, where he was the star in Madrid, he was just another young prospect fighting for a spot in a squad filled with world-class players. Would he sink or swim? His debut in La Liga came quickly, September 25th, 2019, against Osasuna, and he made an instant impact. Less than a minute after coming on, he scored a stunning solo goal, dribbling past a defender before calmly slotting the ball into the net. It was the perfect way to introduce himself to the Madridistas. But the real test was still to come. Could he deliver on the biggest stage, the Champions League? Big match player, Rodrygo's clutch moments. At Real Madrid, talent alone isn't enough. You have to deliver when it matters most. And Rodrygo, he was built for the big moments. The Champions League is where legends are made, and Rodrygo wasted no time in announcing himself. On November 6th, 2019, in just his second appearance in the competition, he produced a performance that left everyone speechless. A hat-trick against Galatasaray. But this wasn't just any hat-trick, it was the perfect hat-trick. One goal with his left foot, one with his right, and one with his head. At just 18 years old, he had already written his name into Real Madrid's history books. But that was only the beginning. The 2022 Champions League run, a night for the ages. Fast forward to May 4th, 2022. Real Madrid was on the brink of elimination against Manchester City in the Champions League semi-finals. Down 5-3 on aggregate, with less than 90 seconds to go, Madrid needed a miracle. Rodrygo provided it. In the 90th minute, a perfect cross from Carvajal met Benzema, who flicked it into the box. And like a ghost in the penalty area, Rodrygo was there. 1-0. The Bernabeu erupted. But the drama wasn't over. Just 1 minute later, another cross came in. Rodrygo rose above the City defenders and buried a header. 2-0. 2 goals in 88 seconds. In one of the most dramatic moments in Champions League history, Rodrygo had dragged Madrid from the abyss. That performance wasn't just about goals, it was about mentality. It showed the world that this kid doesn't feel pressure. He thrives on it. By now, everyone knew Rodrygo Goes was not just a promising young player. He was a Madridista for life. But with so much young talent in Madrid's squad, could he establish himself as a guaranteed starter? Rodrygo's future. Can he become a Real Madrid superstar? Rodrygo has already proven himself as a big game player, but the biggest question remains. Is he ready to become a superstar? At Real Madrid, talent alone isn't enough. To become a true legend, you have to dominate consistently, season after season. Players like Cristiano Ronaldo, Benzema, and Modric didn't just deliver in key moments, they were the backbone of the team. So where does Rodrygo stand in this equation? Competition for a starting role. Real Madrid has a stacked attack, with Vinicius Jr. exploding into a world-class talent and new signings constantly arriving. Rodrygo has had to fight for every minute on the pitch. He has the versatility to play across the front three, but does Carlo Ancelotti see him as a guaranteed starter? So far, Rodrygo has embraced every challenge thrown at him. He improved his finishing, became more physically dominant, and developed his tactical awareness. But the next step is clear. He needs to be a consistent goal scorer. A new era for Madrid. Can Rodrygo lead it? With Benzema gone, Real Madrid is entering a new era. The team is shifting towards a younger core, and Rodrygo is right in the middle of it. If he can elevate his game further, becoming a player who delivers 20+ goals per season, then there's no doubt he can be one of the faces of Real Madrid's future. But football moves fast. New stars emerge every season, and the pressure at Madrid never fades. The question is, can Rodrygo take the final step and cement himself as one of the best players in the world? One thing is certain, he has the talent, the mentality, and the Madrid DNA. Now, it's up to him to write the next chapter.